At its height, the largest city in North America wasn't New York, it wasn't Mexico City, and it wasn't even close. Around the year 1100, near what is now St. Louis, stood a city larger than London. Its name was Cahokia. More than 20,000 people lived here, surrounding massive earthen mounds, wide ceremonial plazas, and carefully planned streets aligned with the sun and stars. This city had no stone buildings, no written language, no metal tools, yet it engineered one of the most complex urban centers on the continent. At the center of Cahokia rose Monk's Mound. Its base is larger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. From its summit, leaders could see the entire city laid out below them. Cahokia wasn't isolated. It sat at the crossroads of North America's rivers. Trade flowed in from every direction. Copper from the Great Lakes, shells from the Gulf Coast, stone from the Appalachians. This wasn't a village, it was a capital, and for generations it worked. But a city this large demanded more than the land could quietly give. As Cahokia expanded, the balance that sustained it began to break. Forests were cleared faster than they could regrow. Wood fueled homes, ceremonies, and constant construction. The land surrounding the city thinned and eroded. Floods from the Mississippi became more frequent. Topsoil washed away, harvests grew unpredictable. Archaeological evidence shows that food shortages became common. At the same time, signs of violence increased. Defensive walls were built where none had existed before. Mass graves appeared. Human sacrifice became more frequent. Power concentrated at the top of the mounds. Elites lived elevated above the city, while the rest of the population struggled below. Social trust began to fracture. Leadership hardened. The system demanded obedience but offered less in return. There was no invasion, no burning city. Cahokia didn't fall in a single moment. Instead, people began to leave. First families, then neighborhoods, then entire communities. By the early 1300s, the great plazas echoed with silence. But what followed was even stranger. But Cahokia didn't vanish overnight. There was no single disaster, no invading army, no final fire. What happened next was slower and far more human. As the population shrank, the systems that held the city together began to fail. Trade routes weakened. Food became less reliable. Leadership lost its grip. The massive earthworks still stood, but the society that built them was unraveling. Floods from the Mississippi became harder to predict. Winters grew colder, harvests less certain. People didn't flee in panic. They left in waves. Families returned to smaller villages, to hunting grounds, to places where survival was simpler. By the early 1300s, Cahokia was no longer a city. It was a memory. And when Europeans arrived centuries later, they found no ruins rising like Rome. No walls, no written history, just grass-covered mounds and no explanation. For generations, the story of Cahokia was ignored, dismissed, underestimated. But today, archaeologists agree on one thing. This was not a failed civilization. Cahokia was one of the most advanced cities in North America before European contact. Its people reshaped the land, mapped the sky, and built a society that thrived for hundreds of years. They didn't disappear. They adapted, and their descendants are still here. Cahokia didn't fall, it chose to let go. What do you think truly ended Cahokia? Environment, leadership, or something else? This is Shadow Frame, where shadows speak.